Hi Mitch to do a video. It is September 20th today, I believe, but I've decided to get started with little Halloween-ish video. The only reason I say, or the main reason I say Halloween-ish video is because the topic I'm going to talk about, um, or the person and topic I'm talking about in this video, um, was into horror, uh, books and, thriller, I guess, when he was first, when he started publishing books in the 70s and 80s. And if anyone knows, what I'm talking about before I even say the name, you're really, um, an avid reader or a, fan of this author. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Stephen King himself. So this is nothing in particular about a book, book or movie of his. Kind of a little bit of my, my experience with his stories and, um, overall impressions and just things of that nature. This doesn't just strictly, you know, stick to his books or anything like that, because the man's known for, of course, first and foremost, his novels and short stories and novellas, as they're called, shorter stories that are not quite short enough to be short stories, but not quite novel length either, somewhere in between. So I'm thinking that's what they call it, a novella. I could be wrong, could be right on the money, as some would say. That's just strictly an educated guess. So my experience with Stephen King has been going on for years, since I was maybe a teenager or even preteen. I vaguely remember, I think it was at my local Walmart at the time, which ironically I live next to my local Walmart nowadays. But anyway, so anyway, one of my earliest experiences with a Stephen King book is The Stand, the complete and uncut, or it's called, the version that is most common, most prevalent found today in any store or bookstore or online, whatever. So, and for whatever reason, I was, like I said, I was a preteen at the very least, or at the oldest, just entering my teenage years, maybe 13 or 14 years old, give or take. So for whatever reason, I was at Walmart in the book section, and Stephen King's The Stand Uncut and revised edition, or whatever it's called, Uncut and Complete, or revised maybe. However, it's commonly referred to. Paperback. I know it was a paperback copy. This was the early to mid 90s, I believe. I'm sure. So anyway, for whatever reason, that book caught my mind. Everything zoomed in on the name Stephen King and the title The Stand. If I remember right, it had an outline of a bird, I guess a crow, a crow, crow's head on the cover. Pretty sure it was an all black cover with maybe some dark blue shading or outlining at for the design. So anyway, I fully intended to get that book, read it, devour it, because at this point in time, I'm still young, but I'm becoming more and more familiar and aware with popular authors, books, or whatever. Um, and Stephen King is one that I've always heard about, and probably more often than not, like everybody had heard that he's synonymous with the horror genre. So, for whatever reason, I gravitate more to that um, subject matter. Nowadays, it's not just horror or thriller. I'll gravitate more to fantasy or like The Lord of the Rings, like The Wheel of Time, George R. R. Martin's Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, if you like, things. But back then I was strictly, or not strictly, but mostly a horror slash thriller um, enthusiast, I guess. So anyway, didn't know much about the book or story. I just knew, like I said, Stephen King was a popular author, and a handful of titles that were popular or made popular for various reasons over the time in time period early to mid 1990s. Anyway, and of course was one of them. I'm almost sure it was right around the time when the original ABC CBS television miniseries was just hitting, was just being broadcast. Um, so I'm sure that had a lot to do with why I gravitated toward the book or story in general. Um, so anyway, ironically, I've watched the miniseries, the 1992 or 93, maybe even 94, 95 miniseries, a handful of times throughout my life since it, first debuted. Um, and I'm sure people watching this, well, within my age range, know, but just a quick rundown of some of the actors and actresses and characters they portrayed in the story of The Stand, or Gary Sinise as Stu Redman from Barnett, Texas. I'm almost sure it's a fictional town or city in Texas. I'm pretty sure Arnett, or um, however it is pronounced, does not show up on your um, Google Maps nowadays, or whatever. But anyway, there's also Molly Ringwald, and the part she played was Franny Goldsmith, and there's a handful of others that pop up here and there, as various characters that were popular in the late 80s or 1980s and 1990s. One being Rob Lowe, uh, that played Nick Andros, I think, a deaf and mute character. Ironically, later on, Rob Lowe, I believe, portrayed another character in another Stephen King show or series, movie, however you wanna say that. Another retelling or remake of Salem's Lot. Um, so anyway, this is not a book review or a movie review of any of the stories or whatever of his I mentioned in this video. It's more like I said, my impression or how I came to know of and find Stephen King for myself. Oh, I'm sorry if this drags on a bit. I'm sorry I'm not more upbeat than usual. It's just things have been going on. I just want to get some video topics on the channel so nobody's sitting here with the 15, 16, I believe now 17 or 18 videos I have up there. So anyway, yeah, the Stand miniseries was basically, I guess you can say, my personal introduction to the world of Stephen King and his characters. Now, did I know and do I know now how and where and if and all that everything connects? The answer to that is a big no. N-O. I do not know how, where, when, uh, timelines, any of that his multiverse, I believe it's called, or referred to, is connected. Although I am aware of his 7 or 8, book, book series, however you want to look at it, because I believe in the early to mid 2000s, the final Dark Tower book was released, ironically titled The Dark Tower, I believe. But I believe years later, after the Dark Tower was released, I don't know, 2010, 12, maybe earlier or later than that. He did release a shorter novel or maybe a novella, The Wind Through the Keyhole, or The Wind and the Keyhole. Not sure. But anyway, I am aware that the Dark Tower book series connects, or not really connects, but is an more overarching story of how and maybe where some events or timelines take place. I'm really not sure. Um, anyway, I can't say much more than I'm saying, unfortunately, because I believe to date, I've only read one Stephen King, I'm sorry, two Stephen King book stories all the way through my whole lifetime so far. And the two that stick out in my mind, there may be one or two others that I'm not thinking of at the moment. But I know for sure the two that stick out in my mind the most are Green Mile and The Gunslinger. The first Lloyd Power book novel, The Gunslinger. Those are the only two in memory that I've completed reading the whole way through. And as far as the Green Mile is concerned, if it wasn't for the 1998-99 movie, I would not know that was a Stephen King story at all, much less of the story's existence. So credit Frank Darabont, Tom Hanks, and who's the guy who played John Coffey? I see his face, I hear his voice. Is it something Duncan? I don't really recall the man's full name at the moment. Sure, as soon as I turn the camera off, it'll come to me. I have the movie on DVD. I was able to pick it up from a store in Houma, one town over from where I live, maybe 15, 20 minutes, give or take, from where I am, south of Thibodeau. So, anyway, um, so you can credit those gentlemen for me now knowing that The Green Mile is a Stephen King story. Because until I saw that movie in theaters, I had no knowledge of its existence, much less of it being a story written uh, or created by Stephen King or any author. But anyway, so yeah, my two main influences on my um, desire to want to go back and watch Stephen King movies, read Stephen King books and stories or the TV miniseries from the 1990s of The Stand and The Green Mile theatrical release in the late 1990s or early 2000s. So yeah, that's my brush up on, or enough brush up on my familiarity with Stephen King as an author or creator of any type of story, whether it be horror, thriller, romance, or fantasy, whatever he decides to create next, I'm willing to check out. By the way, I think I wanted to say this about The Stand to begin with. When I started the video out talking about it and purchasing the book from Walmart, is that to this day I have not fully read The Stand all the way through. Currently on my Kindle, though, I am slowly but surely chipping away at The Stand in that format, digital Kindle format. So as it stands right now, no pun intended, but as it is right now, with the story or book of The Stand, I am about 330 pages, give or take, margin for error, um, into the book, and maybe a little or about 25 to 30% into the book overall. I believe the total page count is somewhere in the neighborhood of upper 1,200 pages to somewhat over 1,300 pages. Like I said, give or take. I don't have it in front of me, obviously, so I can't pull it open and um, say verbatim what it is, page count, percentage, or, anything of that nature. So that's my um, quick, quick as can be view of Stephen King. This is nearly a 30-minute video now, so I will sign off. Keep watching, like, subscribe, pass the word around. Thank you.